All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to our new show, The Hot Seat with OG Tony. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Jay McLovin, Big Glenn, and OG Tony. And we'll turn it over to the host.
Okay, guys, I'll just jump right into it. Excited to be here tonight. Hopefully, we're going to have some fun. Got some NFL questions and got some Major League Baseball. So let's jump right into it. Let's start off with the NFL question. Guys, I know the Carolina Panthers made the playoffs this year, but I've seen some the experts, so-called experts on TV. Some still saying that they don't know if Bryce Young is good enough to lead the Carolina Panthers to a playoff win ever. So my question is to you guys: is he good enough to lead Carolina Panthers to the next level? Is he the right guy, or do you think that he's reached his full potential? He just don't have enough talent to take them to the next level. Chris, what do you think about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers?
I think he's good enough that eventually he could lead them to a playoff win. I don't believe he's going to lead them to a playoff win this year. I think they're going to lose to the Rams this weekend in the wild card. But I think he still has room to grow. I don't think he's has reached his max potential yet. But yeah, and with this new coach, we saw with Canellis this year, he has gotten better. He ain't turning the ball over. He's starting to read defenses quicker. Yeah, Carolina, to me, they're just a couple players away from really being able to compete and maybe make a playoff run next year, especially in that division they're in. They're going to be right there competing for that division every year probably. And if Bryce Young, if you look at the jump he made from last year to this year, and if he makes another jump like that, they could be a tough team next year.
Yeah, I don't think anybody on the panel here thought Carolina would, whether the record was 9 or 8 or 8-9 or whatever the record is. None of us thought they was going to be a playoff team coming into the year. None of us would have predicted, hey, Carolina is going to be a playoff team. We might have said Carolina is going to be a little bit better, maybe, but none of us thought they was going to be a playoff team. So I agree with what you're saying. Big Glenn, what do you think?
I think Bryce Young will start getting into the next level. Maybe not to Super Bowl and stuff, but I feel like they'll compete for a little bit this weekend. But I don't think they'll beat the Rams. I do, however, think there's more room to work with Bryce Young, especially if they can get some parts to the offensive engine.
And Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, when you look at Bryce Young, kind of like what Gonzo was saying, I think he's got the talent. I just don't think he's been in the league long enough or has enough experience to go deep. He's shown that he could compete with the big boys. He put over 200 yards on the Rams in that victory, 3 touchdowns and no picks. He could compete, and I point that Rams game out because we all know how good that Rams defense is, and he was still able to put points on there. He's a leader. He was a leader. He was a leader when he was at Alabama. I watched several come from behind games where he played for Alabama, and he showed that I think even at Texas when they played Texas, I remember. I think that was back when yours was there. He showed that how he could lead his team back even when they were down. I think Bryce Young has the tools, and I believe that he has the ability. And I think he has the leadership aspects. I think he can eventually get you there. But he has a lot more growing within the organization and within his own professional development that he needs to go through to get all the way there. But and again, Tony, he completed 63% of his passes in the regular season, and for a career, he's a 60%er. So the guy's got the tools. I just think he needs a little bit more experience and a few more additions. But the leadership qualities, they're there in him. He just has to continue to polish and work and grow. But he'll get there. I don't think he's going to get there now, Tony. I think he's going to be a one and done. But I think as he continues to mature, eventually, I think he will get there, barring injuries, of course.
Yeah, that's my thing. I've been a lack of consistency with Carolina. I think it's just growing pains. I think growing pains with the quarterback who has gotten a lot better, but also I think the team is getting. But like Chris said, I still think they're a couple players away. So yeah, I think they're in the right direction. I kind of agree with you guys. They're probably going to be one and done unless they. I know they beat the Rams during the regular season, but it's not regular season anymore. So it's the big stage. So we'll see how that goes. Guys, my second hot seat question is about the Indianapolis Colts. I'm gonna go to Chris first for this one. And I also got a Dallas one too. But Chris, my question is this.
What's up, Justin?
What's up, Justin?
Coming in swinging right off the bat. I love it.
I like you, Justin. You got a lot of moxie in you. You got a lot of moxie, Justin. Appreciate you. You keep that same energy, damn it.
Okay, let's go to the Colts question. Chris, in your opinion, what should the game plan be for the Colts in the draft, and also maybe possibly making moves outside the draft, free agency or anything, to try to be a playoff team next year? Then we'll go to Glenn, and then we'll go to Jay. But Chris, you go first.
In the draft, I think they need to be looking at a pass rusher. They spent all their resources this offseason when they did on defense. Most of it was all for the secondary, which if we can stay healthy, I think we fix. But the problem is Sauce got hurt right after we got him, so we really didn't. And then Ward was hurt, so we really never got to see it. We only got to see it for like one game with both them together and healthy. But yeah, I think we need another pass rusher. Big time, and then as always, look at the O line. I know we had a good O line this year, but you want depth at your O line, so I'd look at O line, and we need another edge rusher. Latu's turned into a real good player, or a linebacker. We could use another linebacker as well, but I really think another edge rusher is what we really need. Big, depending on what we do. I don't think we're going to look to draft a quarterback. I think they're re-signing Daniel Jones. And they're going to go with Riley Leonard as the backup. I think that's what they're going to do at quarterback.
Yeah. Question real quick. Where do you think we're going to be with the receiver core? I know there are going to be some questions there because I think Pierce you're going to have to look at. And then also maybe I've seen some people say they should trade who some people think the number one option is. I don't know that he is anymore or not. I can't think of his name right now, but I think you know who I'm talking about.
I think they re-signed Pierce, and I think they look to move. I think they're going to end up moving Pittman.
You think they move on from Pittman?
Yep, I really do. I think they're going to move on from Pittman now, free up quite a bit of money as well because they paid him a lot of money, and he really hasn't performed. Last year he played. Last year he was hurt, but then this year last game he kind of cost us that game with two big drops in a way. Like I know, and don't get me wrong, I know Houston wasn't playing all their starters in the second half, so I'm not saying that Houston was playing full strength, but I mean Pittman dropped two big passes in that game Houston barely beat us. That game could have been different. But yeah, I think they're going to go with Daniel Jones at quarterback. And then I think Riley Leonard is going to be the backup. And if Jones ain't ready at the beginning of the season, I think they're going to roll with Leonard until he gets healthy. So
who will be the receiving core? Pierce and Downs and
they might draft a receiver. You can get receivers in the draft.
Well, it could be a free agent, somebody that they could fit in.
Because with Downs and Pierce and I think they should play more than just special teams is Doolin. When Doolin's on the field, he makes plays for us. I think they should get him a little more involved on the offense. But you also got Warren. I mean, you still, even if you get rid of Pittman, you can draft somebody to fill in. Because Pierce was starting to turn into your number one guy, really.
Yeah. He's averaging like 23, 24, 25 yards. Reception. Yeah. Big Glenn, your thoughts?
I tell you what, when it comes to Colts, this is kind of unrealistic, but it's wishful thinking. Honestly, I wish we could find a way to move up to get this guy right here, Fernando Mendoza.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be, but we know that's not going to happen, unfortunately, because the Raiders are going to take him. But
we don't have no first round picks to trade to try to move up.
Yeah, no. It'd probably take all the draft picks, like when Mike Dick that drafted Ricky Williams. And take a draft picks for the next 5
Hey,
years.
real quick, that's the other
Yeah.
thing. That's the other thing. We don't. That's the other thing about the draft. I mean, yeah, you're going to be looking for like a defensive, like an edge rusher and stuff, but we don't have a first round draft pick. So
Yeah, for the next
we're not
2 years,
getting
right?
anybody till the second round. So, but usually like you're like a defensive backs and some offensive linemen. A lot of times there's depth, and you can still get a good guy in the second round. But yeah, we don't have no first round picks.
Yeah, as far as the realistic idea of the Colts, I wish we could fire Ballard, but we know that's not going to happen either. So I think they will run with Riley until Daniel Jones gets back. I think Daniel Jones does get re-signed. We'll probably overpay for him because that would be the nature of how we would approach it. You don't think so, Tony?
I don't think not coming off an injury. I don't think we will.
Yeah, but I did listen to local sports radio today, as I always do, pretty much every day of the week. And they were saying that it is likely that Pittman will leave and we will resign Alec Pierce. So,
okay, Jay, what do you think about the Colts?
Yeah, what I think about the Colts is I think Chris had it right on the first part. I think you really need to look at. I mean, barring Daniel Jones, if Daniel Jones is on track before the draft and if everything looks, like he's going to be able to come back with very little time missed, you can float it with Leonard until he gets there, a couple games, whatever. I think you're just fine. I think your team, you have a good team. I think Chris was right there. I think you need to find that Dwight Freeney. Everybody kind of has an edge rush. They you need that next Dwight Freeney. Now I don't know who that is in the draft. But you need to look at, you're right, edge rushing. That's probably your biggest thing. You got Sauce Gardner. Your two corners that missed out. I'm assuming there's nothing that's going to prevent them from starting, barring injuries or in their rehabs. They should be able to start the season.
Yeah,
fresh,
they should be ready to go. Yeah, they should
okay,
be
so
ready.
you don't have no issues in your secondary. The only real issue you have, I would really focus, if I was the Indianapolis Colts, I would focus on your trench. I would focus I would focus on your edge rushing, and I would focus on your offensive lineman. That's probably where I would be at, because it's hard. I mean, to keep your quarterback upright, you have to have everything is won and lost in those trenches. And again, I think your pass rush, your guards or tackles, wherever you think you need to improve the most or have more depth at the most, that's where and especially if you don't have a first round pick. I like how you said that, Glenn. Go out to Mendoza, but there's a song called "Back to Life." Back to reality. You gotta stay in reality, killer. You ain't got no first round pick.
That's what I was saying. I was
I'll tell you what I would like to see.
Reality,
So I think they will draft a receiver. Maybe it might be in the later round, but I think they'll draft a receiver. I wouldn't mind seeing them get maybe Omar Cooper Jr. or Surratt. Get one of them Indiana receivers. Both them guys are.
Hey Jay, we got some
receivers.
breaking news here.
And I think they'll be second or third round picks.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to be in it, but they're both are real good receivers.
You probably, let's be honest.
If that Becker's coming out, hell, he's a guy I would look at. That Becker makes big catches.
I don't think
Downs is always going to be your slot guy, right?
I think he's playing another. I think he's coming back to IU.
Yeah, he's only a sophomore, so I think he'll be back.
But yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong though. Downs is only about 5'9". So I kind of see him as your third possessional type receiver, maybe slot, whatever you want to do with him. I think because of his height, I just don't know if he'll ever be a number one. So I think your Alec Pierce, from what he did, I think he had 48 catches, a little over 1,000 yards. That's probably, and I saw him play. He's a very tough kid. That might be your wide receiver one.
Yeah, he's turned into our number one.
Yeah. So you maybe just need to get a good, competent wide receiver too. And I don't know, is Pittman is he still in a contract? Would he be a trade thing or would he be a free agent thing?
A trade.
Okay.
So we got some breaking news here. Frankie dropped it in the chat and stuff here. So Trae Young got traded to Washington, and in return, the Hawks got C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert.
Yeah, I saw something earlier where Trae Young said that Washington was his preferred destination. So that sounds about right that he would go there. But I really feel like if you could when you trade Pittman, if you could get a number one pick or even a number two pick or even a couple number twos, whatever you get for him, I would definitely use that as and try to find who your number two wideout's going to be.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to waste what you got in the second and third rounds for your edge, or you maybe use it on an edge rusher, and then maybe use your second rounder on trying to find your wide receiver too. Or like you said, Gonzo, maybe you find your wide receiver too, maybe even in a third round for a little bit less. But I think you guys got a good team. I would definitely focus though on those trenches, and that's just my with the Colts. I would focus on edge rushing, like Chris said, but also I look at that offensive line. I think those are probably, in my opinion, your two biggest needs.
Okay, guys, let's move on to my next question. And it's similar to the Colts question, but it is for start off with Jay. What does the Dallas Cowboys need to do draft-wise, trade-wise, anything? What do they need to do to try to be able to make the playoffs next year? Jay, what do you think?
Well, and I'm glad you brought the Cowboys in there because I just saw an earlier video. I think I saw it on ESPN or I can't remember where I saw it, but it was an interview at Cowboys Can. They would interview Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones said his number one goal before he dies is to have more championships under his belt than what Robert Kraft has under his. So if I'm believing in Jerry, we got 3 more coming pretty soon, baby. So just hold your chin straps. And I think no. Do I believe that? No, I don't. But I just thought it was hilarious that Jerry came out and said that. Because I'm like, Jerry, if that really is your intent and your end state, then why the hell are you still the general manager after 30 years of bullshit? Why are you still there? If that really is your end state, maybe you should get a GM manager. And if you get a general manager, then we can address Tony's question effectively. So again, number one, Jerry's got to go. That'd be great. Number two, if you got a general manager, then what I would look at for the Cowboys, specifically edge rushing all damn day, because we have zero edge rush, period. Point blank and simple. And I think if we got the edge rushing that we need, that would take some of the pressure off of our secondary, which we all know. With the Cowboys, we're good against the run, but we're terrible against the pass. And I think it starts with the edge rush. And then we got to look at our cornerbacks and see where they're. So if I'm the Cowboys, I got 2 picks in the first round. And you better freaking believe it that them 2 picks should be on defense. I don't care if the number 1 is an edge rusher and the number 2 is a cornerback or vice versa. But at some point, Jerry, we got to address his defense. And I get it. Nobody really bought into what Eberflus was putting out. He couldn't sell his system to the team. And so now that Eberflus is gone, Schottenheimer, you got a good long job to figure out who we're going to bring in to solidify that defensive front. And then after that, we got to figure out who we're going to bring in to get our pass rush and our secondary back on point. And I think we can address those 2 things in a great defensive coordinator. I think Dallas can get back into, because you all know the offense is fine. So we'll see where we go from there.
Jay, do you have a preference who they should get that's available, defensive coordinator?
No, I'd have to look back at that. Give me a minute. Come back to me, and I'll. No, actually, I might need time on that one.
I like Flores and Gannon and Gannon from Arizona. I don't think would be a bad one.
Now Flores was on my radar. I think you guys know that I've been pushing forever, even way back when Houston was trying to find out who their head coach was going to be before DeMeco Ryans got that job. And I kept screaming to the high heavens, Brian Flores, and he has not gotten a job. He's had several interviews. But you're right, Tony. That would be a great, because he's a defensive guy. And he did great things out there with Miami. He did great things with Minnesota, even on their defensive side. So, yeah, I would love to see Brian Flores come there.
Only thing with Flores, I don't think he's leaving Minnesota for another defensive coordinator job.
Yeah,
I think if he leaves Minnesota, it's for a head coaching job. I think if he's going to stay as defensive coordinator, he'll just stay there in Minnesota.
Yeah, you could be right. Chris, what do you think? What does Dallas need to do?
They got to do something with their secondary, and they need a pass rusher, just like the Colts need a pass rusher. They shored up the inside of their defensive line big time with the trades they made and with the guys they drafted and stuff. But now they need to get another edge rusher, and then they got to fix their secondary. Their secondary killed them this year.
Yeah,
to me, that's the main 2 things they have to do.
I've seen a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans talk about.
They can score enough points on offense. They gotta fix that defense. Defense done good stopping the run, but you could throw the ball all over them.
I don't know if he'll be available, but I've seen a lot of Dallas fans talk about the guy from Miami, Baines. A lot of people talk about him. He would be a good pass rusher. Also, they've talked about the guy from Texas Tech. They say he's a really good pass rusher. And then I've seen a lot of people talk about, I believe it's the safety from Ohio State. So I've seen a lot of Dallas people talk about those 3 players, 2 pass rushers and then that safety. who's really a good safety from Ohio State. I can't think of his name right offhand, but I've seen a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans mention those players.
I mean,
Glenn,
I would be mad if he packaged up those 2 picks he's got in the
So-
first round and went after Max Crosby. I wouldn't be mad at that. That'd be great.
Is Caleb Downs coming out this year? Or does he have to play one more year still?
a lot of people thinks Downs coming out.
If he's coming out, if he's available, he'd be a great pick for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
he'd be a great
that's
pick for the Colts. He'd be a great
So that-
pick for the Colts, even though we're pretty good at secondary. But that dude's that dude can play.
Yeah.
If he's available, if Dallas could get him, that'd be a real good pickup for their defense.
Big Glenn, what do you think Dallas needs to do?
A big thing that I feel like needs to happen is definitely their defense. And this kind of reminds me of when Bill lost his like first or second year with San Francisco, how he drafted like 4 defensive backs in that whole 1979 or 80 draft. Like he selected Ronnie Lott and like 3 or 4 others in that set of that draft that year. And I feel like the Cowboys definitely need to do that in that way with a defensive end and cornerbacks and safeties. You know, they need to shore up all of that because our offense is just fine.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones, you know, that dumbass needs to go. But that's beside the point.
That's not going to happen. Okay,
No.
guys. The next question is: give us some thought. If you had $1,000 to place a bet tomorrow on one team to win the Super Bowl, what team would you put your $1,000 on? Jay, who would you take?
Man, it's too bad I can't parlay that $1,000. All right, if I get $1,000 for me to win the Super Bowl, you know, I guess there's 2 schools of thought. You can go for the long shot. Is there a spread at all in consideration, or is it just straight up?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be spread's going to be involved when you go to the thing. I mean, you don't always have to bet the spread, but I mean, you're going to be better off to.
No, I think for who's going to win the Super Bowl it's either going to be the Rams or it's going to be Seattle. I just think I feel like one of those 2 teams is going to get it. It's just a matter of who do you think is going to get it more. If it's a spread and it's a close spread, I'd probably go with I'm gonna go with Seattle. I'm gonna make it simple. I'm going with I feel like Seattle has it. And I think that they're going to get it done as long as they can give Darnold time to throw the ball because he doesn't work well under pressure. So if that offensive line, if they're getting those 2 tackles back, so when they get their starting tackles back, if they can give Darnold time, I think Seattle gets it done. So I'll put the 1,000 on Seattle.
I think Seattle's the favorite, so you probably make the least there. But I mean,
it would be the least. Yeah, it'd be the least.
Big Glenn.
When Jay was talking, I was thinking, I was like, yeah, Seattle does sound good. But I think Sam Darnold's going to take a freaking shit next weekend, and it's going to, it's going to hurt their chances in that way. So the hell with Seattle.
The recent health forecast, I got you, Big Glenn. Let me give you some advice, though. The recent health forecast shows that he's actually constipated right now, so he's good.
Well, if he takes laxative, he's going to be in trouble. But that's
they're not giving him laxatives. He's just straight constipated. It's good.
But yes, I'm going with San Francisco. San Francisco's got that experience. They've been to a couple of Super Bowls and things like that. Came up a little bit short, obviously, against Patrick Mahomes. But San Fran's going to sneak in, and they're going to get it done.
Yeah, I'm going back. I'm not going with a clear-cut favorite. I'm not going, I could say Seattle. I know Chris is like the Rams. I like the Rams too. But I think I'm going to go not with a favorite. So I'm trying to pick which one I want to take. I know it's going to sound weird, but they're not a favorite. Philadelphia, they've been there. They've got a good defense. The quarterbacks played big in big moments at times. But then the other one would be a long shot, and I would really make a lot of money. And I think I'm going to go that route. I think I would put on a long shot, and I'd go with the Houston Texans and that defense. So I'm going to try to make a bank. I'm going to try to make some money. I'm not saying I'm going to win, but I'm going to try to make some money. That would be, that's what I would try.
Now, Tony, you seem to be a fairly conservative type of look. We're old people. We're supposed to be conservative right now in our life. You're on all risk.
I'm going $1,000. I'm going $1,000 that somebody's giving me to bet. I'm not going. If it's my $1,000, I'm going to play a lot safer. But
it's a lot easier with somebody else's money, huh?
True, Chris. What about you? What would you do?
I'm trying to pull the odds up, but if somebody gave me $1,000, I'm putting it on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh shit! Damn, God, so
Same thing as you said.
that's
It's
a good one.
going to
That's
be
a good
big
one.
odds. Their defense has been playing real good, and Trevor Lawrence they've been hot.
Plus, they got a home game where Houston don't. Yeah.
And since you're saying that you're allowed to play the spread, even if they lose in the Super Bowl, they have to make the Super Bowl in order for that to pay out. But even if they make the Super Bowl, like you said, they could probably cover that spread. So maybe that $1,000 would make a good chunk.
Right now, Seattle is plus 330. They're the favorite to win the Super Bowl at plus 330.
Is the second best odds New England?
No, it's Seattle plus 330, Rams plus 425, Broncos plus 650, New England plus 900. Let's see, the Texans would be plus 1,200. And the Jacksonville Jaguars would be plus 1,300. 49ers are plus 3,000. So if you bet, you bet $1,000, you win 3,000.
Yeah, make some money on that.
Or San Fran app. They farther down.
They're plus
Plus
3,000. Plus 3,000.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Now, I need some help with the math here. What would that be if you won? That's got to be like what? 30? Is that like 30 grand or something?
No.
On $1,000 bet?
Nah,
or 3,000?
I think that'd be more like 30,000 or 300,000 or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. My math is probably way off. I suck at math. That's why I was. Gonzo, you're the math guy with betting. What would that be?
Be 30,000, I believe.
That's what I'm thinking. It's a hell of a lot of cash flow, Tony.
Yeah, true.
Bang, now you're game, man.
Yeah, it'd be for every $100 you bet, you'd win $3,000.
Damn, coach.
Okay.
It's a nice.
So Jay, you like Seattle? They're plus 330. So if you bet $100, you're going to win $330.
Yeah, and again, I went the conservative route, but I guess if it's somebody else's money, because I guess when I bet as if it's my money.
Well,
I guess
if you
I'm
bet
betting somebody else's money.
you're going to win more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you still win a good amount, just not as much as if you do like more of a long shot.
Oh yeah.
Now, if it was my own money, and I'm going with and I really thought I didn't want to take like that bigger risk. I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, because Rams have been there.
Somebody gave me money like that to bet on, and I'm trying to hit big.
Oh yeah, right. Because again, there's no downside to you.
Yeah.
It's only upside.
But
Okay, guys.
I still think the Rams the Rams are still my favorite right now.
I'm gonna, and we don't know what's going to happen yet. We know Harbaugh's available now and everything. Who knows what these 5 or 6 coaching jobs who these teams are going to take. I'm going to throw a team name out, and you let each one of you, if you got a name that you think would be a good fit there, say that name. First of all, New York Giants. Chris, who do you think the Giants should go with?
Man, I got 2 names. I'll go with Mike McCarthy.
Okay. If I'm the Giants, I'm going after Harbaugh. I don't know if you can get him, but that's who I would go after. But I would have the same answer for Atlanta. So if I'm not
That's
taking
my problem. That's what I was going to say, either McCarthy or Harbaugh.
honestly, I would take the Giants, and people are going to say I'm crazy. I would take the coach from Cleveland.
Stefanski.
That'd be a good pickup too for the Giants.
Him with the Giants, and then with Atlanta, I would go with Harbaugh. That was what I would do. Jay, what do you think for the Giants? I think McCarthy would be good too, though.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Stefanski is linked to Cousins, though. Wasn't he his coach at some point, or something with him at some point? Right?
He was offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I knew they had a link Right. I knew they were linked together. If it was me, based, like I said, based on like, I can imagine, I don't know what Penix is going to do. Cousins is there. He just relined. I'd probably go Stefanski with Atlanta because of that connection there. And then and then also he's a really good quarterback guy. He's offensive. So even if look at Penix, look what he could do for that offense. He could probably get Kyle Pitts maybe even more involved from the tight end perspective. So I'd probably go Stefanski with Atlanta, and I would go Harbaugh with the Giants, because I think with that defense that he has over there, he could probably work with the likes of Thibodeau and Carter and all the things that they're trying to do defensively. Because I think offensively they're already in a good spot. I think Jackson Dart knows his role, and Scatterbo. So he's got a lot of good pieces there, but I think he would really secure the defensive side for the New York Giants. That's probably where I'd go that direction with Harbaugh.
What do you think, Glenn?
I think Graham definitely for New York Giants and Stefanski for Atlanta.
Okay. If that happens, who do you think? Let's say that happens. I know the Raiders are going to make a big push for Harbaugh, I believe. But let's say that what we said happens with Atlanta and the Giants. So who do you think the Raiders would get then, Chris? What do you think? You think maybe? I've heard some rumors about Gruden, but
I think the Raiders are going to get Brian Flores.
Do you really?
Yep.
Okay.
He has a connection with Brady from New England. They were all together there in New England.
Good point.
They need somebody to come in there and get a culture going. He's that kind of guy. I really think the Raiders are going to end up hiring as Flores, if they can't get Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh is going to Atlanta. So,
okay, Glenn, what do you think?
I tell you who the Raiders need. They need Jesus freaking H. Christ in that way. But because they need a lot of things.
It tells how you really feel there, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, it is Sin City, so it would make kind of sense in that way. But anyways, I feel like Brian Flores would end up going to Oakland.
Okay. What do you think, Jay?
This is going to sound crazy, but I think Glenn's first answer wasn't really too far off the mark. I believe if Jesus can take a loaf of bread and a couple of fish and feed 5,000, that he could take whatever 1 or 2 draft picks that they may have and multiply it into a plethora and get them back where they need to be. Now, that would be great if Jesus worked that direction, but he doesn't. So we're going to have to stay with the human element. So if we're going to stay with the human element, I do think Harbaugh and Brady, I think Brady is really fond of Harbaugh. So I wouldn't be surprised if he really pitched hard for Harbaugh to go there. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I kind of lean towards 1 or 2 coaches that could really be beneficial for the Raiders if they don't get Harbaugh. And I think Gonzo pointed out one already in Brian Flores, because Brian Flores knows how to do startup rebuilds and get teams. He did it with Miami. He built Miami up before he left them. So I think he can do the same thing with the likes of Jennings, Bowers, and possibly getting his own personal quarterback in Mendoza, be his selection. He could groom it and do well. And defensively, I'm sure Max Crosby would be really happy to see him come in and have a defensive-minded coach help their charge there as well. Also, I think McCarthy could be good because McCarthy can take a program that has no identity, put them on a stability platform, and if you can't get them there personally, he will at least get them, like you said, goes back to culture, Gonzo. I think Flores and McCarthy could put a culture in there and get that team uprighted. So I think either one of those 3 coaches could get the job.
Yeah, I think Tennessee. I agree with all you guys' thoughts on the other team. I think Tennessee. Switch to them. I think McCarthy would be a good pick there. I don't think they'd go that route though. I think Tennessee's going to go with somebody young. Unfortunately, I think they're going to screw up again. But
is that one of the teams you were going to ask about?
Yeah, Tennessee.
I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to Tennessee.
See, and
he's not the offensive coordinator no more. They moved on from him with Washington. He's not offense coordinator there no more. He didn't do terrible as a head coach in Arizona. They made the playoffs one year he was there. He had some ups and downs, but with that young quarterback, and he's an offensive guy. Look what he did with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels' first year. I and I think Ward plays the style,
That's a
the
good
style
point.
that Kingsbury likes. I do. I think Cliff is going to Tennessee.
That's good. That's a good point. That's a good,
Yeah.
because Jay had talked about, the style of that quarterback, the way he plays. So Kingsbury would be a good fit there. So that makes sense.
Yeah, Tony, I have to agree with you on Tennessee fucking up their coaching search, just like their new statement. They're supposedly going to be done, I believe, is this year, right?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Kingsbury has coached a lot of good quarterbacks. I mean, he started out with Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. Then he goes over to Arizona,
No,
right?
he had Baker Mayfield before he had Patrick Mahomes.
True on that. And that okay, so that's even another quarterback. Look where Baker's at, right? I mean, he has everywhere the quarterback position. He has always done really, really well with those quarterbacks. I don't know about him completely as a head coach, even though Gonzo, you make a good point with Arizona. He didn't do bad. He didn't do elite. I think he was middle of the road with Arizona. So I feel like, and I think you guys know, whenever you get that second destination as a head coach, if you haven't had enormous success, like really established good success, then that next destination, if he goes to Tennessee and it doesn't work out in Tennessee, could that be a career killer as far as him trying to become a head coach again after that, if it doesn't work out in Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean it could, but I think he likes Cam Ward. I think
Right.
he's going. I think he likes Cam Ward, and he thinks I think that's why he's going to hitch his. I think that's what's going to interest him there.
Question on that, because you make a good point when you talked about that. Cam Ward has come out publicly and said he is angry with the way he was coached. He felt like he was not allowed to play free, that he was trying to be forced into their system, and it just didn't fit his abilities. So he said he wanted to be involved in the head coaching search. So maybe a guy like Kingsbury would, I guess he would allow him to be more of a free-flowing quarterback, I'm guessing.
The only thing I worry about with Kingsbury, he do good with the quarterbacks. I wonder about the culture. Arizona never got over the hump, and I'm not saying that's all Kingsbury's fault. It may not be, but they had the right guy for the culture in Tennessee to begin with, and then they let him go. So,
right,
who knows? Okay, guys, let's move on from that. Guys, what in your opinion, what went wrong with the Baltimore Ravens? And why do you think they moved on from Harbaugh? Because to me, I mean, I understand we talked a little bit because Jay said sometimes it's just time to move on, and I think what's going to end up for me, I think it's going to be a good thing for Harbaugh, and I'm afraid it may be a bad thing for the Ravens. Sometimes what you wish for is not what you're going to get. So I think it's a good move for Harbaugh. Maybe he didn't want that, but I think it's going to be good for him. And then the second in that, because we didn't talk about that, who ends up being the coach at Baltimore? Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know what direction they're going to go with a coach at Baltimore. It's because I'm still surprised that they got that they got rid of Harbaugh. I thought that was just a bunch of outside noise. I really didn't think Harbaugh would get fired. As far as what went wrong with them, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what went wrong. It just seemed like it just seemed like they were cursed in a way. Like anytime a ball could bounce one way or the other, or a big play could go one way or the other, it always went against them. But whether it was a big fumble or a guy being out of bounds by a toe, or dropping a pass in the end zone, or it was just missing the kick. I think everybody forgets they hit that kick during the playoffs. They were right there with all the injuries they had this year. Lamar missing a lot of games. So yeah, I don't know. It was just a weird ass season for Baltimore, and it seemed like every time they start to get momentum, some big play would happen, and it would always go against them. And it looked like that game the other night, it was going to finally go their way.
Yeah.
And then he missed, and then a field goal kicker that hadn't missed a kick all year misses.
Yeah. Pittsburgh gives it to you on a platter, misses the extra point, and then you make a miraculous play and get field goal range, and that kicker hadn't missed a kick all year, and like you said, missed the kick. Yeah, that's true. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, for me with Roquan Smith, in that defense, he was hurt for a good period of time. He missed a lot of games, and that really hurt that defense over there. Harbaugh, he ever since he had that, after that period with Ray Lewis and Suggs, when he got the Super Bowls, it just seems once Lamar got there, he just never could quite get it going. After that, I mean, not that he couldn't make the playoffs. He could make the playoffs. Let's understand. I'm just saying he could never get past the AFC. I don't know. Did he make it to the Super Bowl? I feel like he made it to the Super Bowl with Lamar.
No,
Or maybe it was. Yeah, right. It was a championship game, right? So he never just. And I think the Chiefs, man, the Chiefs were really his nemesis over there for a long period, trying to get into that. I don't know. I feel like with the Ravens that Harbaugh just got a little stale there. They got a little comfortable. They just weren't really. And again, the defense took a huge step back this year. They had a lot of injuries, which is not his fault. I felt like there were times when Harbaugh got away from the run, which is one of the biggest things that the Ravens offense is known for is Henry and Lamar's ability to run the ball, which opens up a lot of other things. So I just feel like I think it's a good new direction for the Ravens to go into, and I think it's a great new fresh start for Harbaugh to find himself into. And where he winds up, that's a good point. In terms of who they wind up with their new head coach, that's a good point. Maybe Raheem Morris. I don't know if that would be a good fit there. And I know he's a defensive-minded guy.
What do you guys think about Stefanski? If he didn't end up with the Giants or Atlanta, do you think maybe would he be a fit with Lamar? Or would Kingsbury be a fit with Lamar?
I mean, I think both of them would be a fit with Lamar, but Kingsbury, it'd be awful hard to fire John Harbaugh to hire Kingsbury.
I feel like that would be a lot.
If I was a Baltimore Ravens fan, that'd be a tough pill for me to swallow.
But who are you going to bring in that they're going to be happy with? Now,
I don't know. That's the problem. I'd be happy personally. I'd be happier with Stefanski than I would Kingsbury.
I have a prediction.
I think Stefanski's a good football coach, and he's worked good with a lot of quarterbacks. Like, if you look at a lot of quarterbacks he's worked with, like he was with Cousins. He's been with Baker Mayfield before they decided to go with Deshaun Watson. I mean, they won a playoff game in Cleveland. Like
he didn't want Deshaun. That's what things went wrong. He was 100% against Deshaun. He never got his quarterback. They forced people on him, and he never got his guy. He never got his guy.
Which tells me that ownership and the general manager really screwed Stefanski over more. And really that failure is just as much their failure as it is Stefanski's failure with Cleveland. So I agree. And that's why I think it's a good move for Stefanski to get out from underneath that. And if I'm him and if I'm interviewing on my next job, I'm really looking at the GM and I'm really looking at the ownership group. And I really want to know if are they going to give me or are they going to allow me to do what I need to do to give culture and stability to this organization? Or are they going to undermine me, like you said, Tony, and go draft 4 or 5 quarterbacks or whatever it is and give me this plethora of crazy?
I do think Stefanski would be a good fit in Baltimore.
Yeah.
But let me ask you guys this. The report is that since John Harbaugh got fired yesterday, there's been 7 to 8 teams calling him. There's only 6 teams that don't have head coaches.
Who's the 7th and 8th one?
Yeah, who are these teams? Who are these teams that have head coaches?
Miami might be one. Could be a couple other ones.
Harbaugh.
Hey, I've also heard too.
Let me ask you this, Glenn and Dad. Well, even Jay too, but more than just
throw Jay in there. Why not?
I already know what you're going to ask, and the answer is yes.
Could one of those teams be the Colts? Could their ownership, because that he came open just a little bit after they had their she had that press conference. Could she be maybe changing her mind?
Bye, coach. We'll take Harbaugh.
Or at least looking into it.
It would be the most earth-shaking thing ever, honestly. Especially with having her dad's blood in her, obviously. Honestly,
I wonder
if we get to like March and we're having an introductory press conference for Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also heard though now that Harbaugh's gone, when Harbaugh was on the hot seat, one of the things I heard is one of the headlines I saw was Ravens possibly moving on from Harbaugh. Could Lamar Jackson be next? And I wonder, could they move on from Lamar itself and just go into a partial rebuild?
I don't think
Because they could trade him for picks and get a Mendoza, but it'd have to be Mendoza. Who else would be out there that'd be worth the picks?
I don't think they, if they were going to move on from Lamar, I don't think they would have fired Harbaugh.
I'm surprised none of you guys have said.
I think if they move on from
Ravens.
both of them, their fans will go crazy. But
Yeah,
not that they really care that much about the fans, but you know, I mean, there'll be a lot of noise on the outside if they got rid of both of them. But I think if they would have kept Harbaugh, if they would have going to get rid of Lamar, they would have kept Harbaugh there to keep the culture. Because I think they decided to go the other way, keep Lamar and move on from Harbaugh.
I tell you who I think is going to be the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. That is Michael McCarthy.
Okay.
It feels like a perfect fit.
It would be a good.
Do you think his coaching style might be too antiquated for a guy like Lamar Jackson?
He can make.
I'm
it
just
work.
asking. You don't think?
I think he would make it work.
Well, why if you bring in Kingsbury to be your offensive coordinator?
That could be interesting. That could be interesting.
But if Kingsbury don't get a head coaching job, I've got a spot where I think he'll end up as an offensive coordinator. This is a prediction. Let's write it down. No, I think he ends up with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Really?
As an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I don't think they were happy with Pachula. I think Pachula's on a shoestring over there.
And here's another thing: how I said that I think Flores is going to be the Raiders' next head coach. I think his offensive coordinator is going to be Brian Dable.
Okay,
that's crazy.
That's another thing. You know, you bring up Dable. That Dable's a guy that you could possibly bring to Baltimore as an offensive coordinator, or Tennessee as an offensive coordinator. You know, that's possibilities. Yeah,
he did a great job in Buffalo as their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, look what he done with Josh Allen in Buffalo. Yeah. I do. I think if Dable, because I don't think Dable's going to get another head coaching shot this year. So I think if Flores gets that job with the Raiders, I could see Dable going there and being the OC.
Okay, guys, let's move on. Let's do some baseball. The Astros signed pitcher. Excuse me on the pronunciation here, guys. A Japanese pitcher.
You better get it right, Tony. This is my team.
I'm not going to get it right, so I'll tell you right now. Isasu Hamani. I don't know if that's right or not, but how's it going, Billy Buzz? But anyway, they got him, and I'm going to ask Jay, does this help make the Astros a playoff team?
Well, I'll tell you what. When you look at what he was doing in Japan, and it seems like a lot of these Japanese pitchers that have come over have been able to facilitate real nicely into Major League Baseball. I don't know if two of them have really struggled from what they were doing in Japan to what they're doing in MLB. I think their game has transferred very nicely. Yamamoto has been a classic example of how he was able to adapt. The guy's got a 1.94 ERA when he was playing in Japan. So I'll take those numbers. If he could translate a 1.94, 1.92 ERA in MLB, and again, he's been compared to Yamamoto. I have not seen this guy pitch. So I don't know a lot about him, but he has had comparisons to a Yamamoto type of pitcher. And if he can get that kind of longevity in games, and if he can give you that anywhere near that ERA in that longevity, he's going to be a perfect number 2 right behind Hunter Brown. And that's a great 1-2 punch. And then you got Javier, who is bouncing back real nicely this year. He had his first year off Tommy John last year where he was still trying to find himself. But from all reports right now, he's supposed to be going into spring training, and he's supposed to be perfectly healed up, ready to go. So that's a really good 1-2-3 punch right there. So I think he's going to – and that was one of the biggest things with Houston was our rotation. We weren't getting enough innings out of our rotation, and which was taxing our middle relief a lot. And, of course, Josh Hader went down, which really hurt us in the closing end of the game. So defensively, I would love to see us, I'm curious to see what he brings. I think he's going to be great for our team, honestly. And if you look what we did with Kikuchi, I remember when we brought Kikuchi, he was okay, whatever. But when he came and played with us and got underneath our coaching system, he really flourished to the point where they were all after him once he left Houston. So if we can do that with Kikuchi, I know we're going to have no problems with Iman when he comes over. So I think it's going to be real. I was really happy we got him. I was surprised. I didn't know we weren't even in the runnings to get him. I just saw when they said we acquired him. So Dana Brown, I cursed you a lot of times, but I'm going to tip my hat to you for bringing him in. I think that was a good upgrade right there. And if all the reports I'm hearing is accurate, I think Houston is trying to put a big, massive deal together, trying to bring Cal Tucker back. I don't know if that's going to happen or if that's just a bunch of BS. But if that happens, then I can see Houston climbing back in the driver's seat in our division.
Okay, Glenn, what do you think? Does this move help take Houston to the playoffs?
I don't know much about the guy, obviously, but if anything that we've learned from Dodgers getting all the Japanese players in that way, this is definitely going to help them, the Astros out.
Yeah. I think if he's 80%, 80, 85, 90% of what the hype is, I think that this helps get them to the playoffs. Now, I'm not going to say to the World Series or anything like that. They have to have other moves probably for that, especially with some of the moves other teams. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. One of the other teams I'm going to talk about, but I think they would need more. But I think it makes them a playoff team. I think a good chance. Chris, what do you think?
I mean, I think it eventually will. I don't know if it'll be this year that it'll help him. You just never know how long when a guy comes into MLB, is it going to take him a little bit to adjust to it? You know what I mean? It could take him a month. It could take him a season. It could take him 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? You never know how long. But yeah, I mean, I think the guy's going to be a real good pitcher. So he's definitely going to help them. You know, definitely think he'll help them in the postseason sometime. Right now it's too early for me to say that he's going to help them get there this year.
Okay, guys.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Jay.
Just want to end it with this, just so you know where he's at. Now, we all say about it. This is a quote from him at his presser. Now, I understand we all got to say things at the presser, but I still love to hear it when the man says this. He said, "What's up, H-Town?" He said, "I am Tatsaya Amai, and I'm ready to chase a world championship. Let's go, Houston." Damn right.
Okay.
Coming back.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Next question, baseball question. Toronto Blue Jays signed Dylan Cease, pitcher Cody Ponce, pitcher Tyler Rogers, infielder Kasumi Akamoto from Japan. Guys, Blue Jays making big moves. Made it to the World Series last year. In my opinion, outplayed the Dodgers. Didn't get the World Series, but they outplayed the Dodgers. Does this make them the favorite in the American League to make it back? And could this possibly make him the favorite to win the World Series? Chris?
I think it has to make them at least a favorite as of right now to make it back, because I think the moves that they made makes them better on paper, would make them better than what they were last year, and they were in the World Series last year. Of course, we haven't seen nobody play this year with their moves that they've made and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you look on paper with the moves that they've made, I think they're should be a better team than they were last year. So yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, they'd have to be the favorite for me.
Do you think they could possibly favorite to win the World Series? Do you think the Dodgers are still just too strong for anybody else to be the favorite going in?
Yeah, I'd probably still have the Dodgers as the favorite to win it.
Okay.
Just because they have so much. They have so much.
Yeah. Yep. Jay, what do you think about Toronto?
Man, Toronto. Yeah, that's a team that, at least in the American League,
So Billy,
you know, they were right there. They were right there with the Yankees and all them last year in the standings and things like that. You know, I mean, they have a good squad over there in Toronto. I just feel like, I think Gonzo hit it right on the nail, man. Look, the Dodgers just brought in Edwin Diaz, the amazing closer. Tippy Trumpet is now going to be playing in Dodger Stadium. I mean, they just keep upgrading every damn position. They just brought in some infielder to beef up their infield. I mean, these guys are always just spending money, perfecting all the little crannies of that organization. And yeah, I just think that's a juggler out of a giant. And it can be done, Tony, but man, I think that like Gonzo said, they're just too damn strong, man. They got too many high profile players in all these little spots.
Big Glenn,
it's
what do you
crazy.
think? What do you think about the Toronto Blue Jays?
They're definitely going to be the favorite to win the AL pennant. That's for sure. I know Frankie is a Yankee fan, obviously, but man, all those lines, yeah, they're definitely the favorite to win the AL. Whether or not they got a good chance to win all, I'd say definitely a better shot to win all compared to last year because it took a few acts of God in that way for Dodgers to win. So.
Like I said, I thought Toronto outplayed them, but
absolutely,
don't make no difference. They did win. So, okay, guys, the last thing I have for tonight is a quick college preview for tomorrow's game with Miami of Florida against Ole Miss. Miami was the 10th seed coming into the tournament, and Ole Miss was the 6th seed. Chris, first of all, what do you think? What does Miami need to do to win this game, and what does Ole Miss need to do to win this game, and who are you picking?
I think it's going to be a real good game. It's a hard game. Early, it's a hard game to pick. I'm trying to find the spread because I can't remember what it was. There it is. Ole Miss, to me, it's all about their defense. If their defense can step up like they did in that second half against Georgia, that's going to be the key. It's going to come down the line of scrimmage. Can the Ole Miss offensive line handle the physicality of that Miami defensive line? That Miami defensive line has been one of the most physical, I would say the second most physical defensive line in the college football playoffs, right behind Indiana. Some people would say Miami's the most physical team left out of these four. I don't believe that. I don't think, yeah, I mean, if you watch, I've also watched every IU game. I'm an IU fan, so I do have some bias.
Yeah.
But I think IU's the most physical team, and I think they've proven that throughout the season so far. But hey, Miami is physical. Look what they did to Ohio State. They're a physical team. I think it's going to come down to the line of scrimmage. I think if you're Miami, you need to run the ball, keep Ole Miss's offense on the sideline, and that way your defense don't get tired. If you're Ole Miss, you're kind of. I think if this turns into a shootout, it favors Ole Miss. I think a lower scoring game favors Miami. I think Miami wants to, like I said, run the ball, be physical, and let that clock keep running so their defense don't get tired. Let their defense come out, be aggressive, do their job. Yeah, if this game is in the 20s, I think Miami wins. If it gets up to where both in the 30s, I think Ole Miss wins the game. I'm gonna go with. Man, it's a hard one for me. I'm leaning toward Miami. It's just with everything going on with Ole Miss, with coaches trying to coach two teams, just with all that stuff, and how physical Miami has looked their last two games with what they've done with physical wise at Texas A&M and Ohio State. I'm gonna go with Miami.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth too, and I'm kind of on the same page as you. Except I think even less. I think if Miami scores, is going to have to. If in my opinion, if Mississippi scores 21, 22 points or more, Mississippi's going to win that game. I think if they score 24 points for sure, I think Mississippi wins that game. But I think if it's 20 or less, I think Miami's going to win the game. But I keep going back and forth because that Miami's defense looks really good, not only at the line of scrimmage, that one young rookie defensive back was just killed also. But the Mississippi quarterback was hard to bring down. And Georgia's got I'm not saying Georgia's got a front line like Miami. They don't. But Georgia was a decent defensive time. I've seen them shut people down before.
Well, that's the thing that makes it hard, too, is Georgia outplayed Ole Miss for a lot of that game. And then that quarterback got hot and just took it over in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
I agree. That's what makes this game so hard to pick.
Yeah. I like that strong up front for Miami. I've been picking Mississippi, so I'm going to stick with Mississippi in a 3-point game. 4-point game, 24-20. I'm going with Mississippi. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think we could throw out the whole Lane Kiffin's not there scenario because clearly Ole Miss and Golding have shown that they don't need to have Lane Kiffin to be the high-profile team, considering that they got that narrow victory, but still a victory over Georgia. I think it's also important to note that Miami went up against Ohio, which is one of the best coached defensive units. We all know what John Dale does on the defensive side of the ball. And they put up 10 points, or they got a margin of victory of plus 10 points.
Hey, guys, one question.
Yeah, go ahead. Damn it, just get it out of the way.
No. I just want to know why do you always call him John Day? Why is it John Day? Why is that stuck in your head?
Was it John Daly? Ryan Day. I don't know. Damn it, because I like golf. That's why, because I like golf.
For some reason, every time you talk about him, you call him John.
Well, wait a minute. Well, who's Who's John Day? Who's John Day?
I know who
John Daly. John Daly.
Okay, I know who John Daly is.
I know, but I guess in my mind, I don't know. Damn it, just go with the flow. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Damn it. Hold on, Hold on. Right it back in. Let me wrap this up. Let me wrap this up. Bring it back. Ryan Day.
Okay.
That defensive unit for Ohio, you know how good that is. And the fact that Carson Beck still went in there with this Miami team and beat them by 10. I mean, that just shows how good. You're right. They're a physical team. So you got the championship experience in a quarterback like Beck. He's been there. He knows what it takes to get the job done. Chamblees, though, on the other hand, is amazing. I mean, what he did against Georgia, it was phenomenal, right? And he had a perfect game. He had a damn near perfect game. He had no turnovers. He had 3 touchdowns, almost 300 yards, whatever it was. He put on Georgia, and Georgia's defense is not just a slack defense. I mean, they went in there and did really, really well. Lacey, ran the ball phenomenally. He did have the one fumble against Georgia, and I don't want to see him do it against Miami. So Lacey, the one thing I will tell you is, protect the ball. Don't be coughing it up. But with that being said, though, I felt like Ole Miss's defense did a pretty good job holding down Georgia's run game to 3.7 yards per carry. So I felt like they did a good job on the run. So I'm going to roll with Ole Miss here. And I really feel like they just got that chip on their shoulder, guys. I think that Ole Miss is playing with that chip on their shoulder. When you get a chip on your shoulder, you can do big things. So I'm going to roll with Ole Miss and Chamblees, however you want to say it. I'm going with him.
Okay. Big Glenn, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like it's it goes back to what Jay was calling Jim Day or Ryan Day. Today's day is Wednesday, So anyways, that's a fact. I had to throw some rhymes there, So
he's a poet and he didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you rhyming with that too, Tony. That's a hell of a good show. I gotta tell you, that's a damn good show.
The Reds reporter on Fox Sports Ohio is Jim Day, so I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's true.
I feel like for Ole Miss to have a chance to win, it's going to take they're going to need at least 24 points to win this game, because the way Miami's defense is, I feel like if the Miami can bring the same team that they had against Ohio State last week, that's heavily going to favor obviously Miami. That means that Ole Miss is going to be lucky to see 20 points. But I feel like if Ole Miss can get to that 24-point mark, that 24 to 28-point mark, they will win that game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, guys. Well, I think it's been a good first show. I think it went well. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it out there. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow with Thursday Night Blitz, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. We'll be talking some college football playoffs again. That game will be going on during Miami and Ole Miss as we're on the air. Also, we'll be talking about some of the NFL players that impressed us this year. And also, we'll be talking top 10 biggest NFL bust in the draft. So, and there's some good ones on here. I think it's going to be an interesting list. So, I think we'll have a good show tomorrow. Please join us, and hopefully everybody have a good night. You guys got anything before we get out of here?
I just have one thing to add. The show's called Hot Takes with OG Tony. I just got to say, man, Jerry Jones, one more time, man. If you're in state and your goal in life is to get 3 more championships, that's a hot take. 3 more championships for the Cowboys.
You know, Jay, if he's talking about 3 more championships, he won. He's already won that third, and that was back in '96. So
Yeah, maybe he's senile. He's talking about the past.
Yeah, he must be. He must be. But that's all I had to say. Hot take. So the Cowboys are going to get 3 more championships. There's a hot take for you, OG.
Yep. Okay. Got to say everybody tomorrow.